Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's yeah. So the difference between judo and jiu-jitsu, one of the fundamental differences is judo has a lot of throws and a lot of, there's kick. I mean, there's kicks in jiu-jitsu too, but jiu-jitsu has its origin in the samurai fighting styles where jiu-jitsu was actually a combat sport. I mean, a combat system where you were trying to kill someone, whereas judo was in its origin from its inception a sport, but it still can be lethal. It's still some very
Yeah.
tough techniques. Um, I'm kind of run through them a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna debunk something that I think needs to have some distinction because you have some people who don't understand how effective some of these arts are in a real situation. And I think they miss a lot of the key points. In fact, I have this clip of none other than uh, Andrew Tate. He's
Oh, okay.
uh
Shout out
he's
to
kind
him.
of yeah he's kind of trying to debunk jujitsu, right? And I'm gonna let it play, and you're gonna hear what he has to say. Now he's a kickboxer,
Yeah.
right? And he was a decent one. I saw some of his fights, but I'm gonna disagree with him on what he's gonna say, and I'm gonna prove my point. But I'm gonna let you hear what he has to say about jujitsu in particular. But what I just showed was judo, but I'm gonna show a little bit of jujitsu as well after I get this sound bite from Andrew Tate.
BJJ is absolutely useless. The number one rule of street fighting is stay on your feet. You can't do a double leg takedown on concrete. You're gonna fuck yourself up. Even if you do take him down, many submissions don't work if he can bite or if he can pull a knife. You don't know if he has friends. You're gonna take him to the ground, put him in an arm bar, and his friend's gonna fucking football kick you in the head or curb stomp you, and you're gonna die. And all these Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, every time I say this, they're like, no, BJJ, baby. You're a bunch of dorks. It's useless.
Okay, so
I think I actually saw that.
yeah. Now, how do
I
you
think
feel
I
about
saw.
that? Do you agree with him, or how do you feel about what he said?
Well, I think it depends on the many situations because, I mean, there could be infinite situations when you can get into an altercation. So, in some ways, he's right, but some ways you're right too. So,
I haven't even made my point yet, but
well, I kind of know, I kind of got an idea where you're going. But yeah. Again, it depends on the many situations when you come into a physical altercation. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because what he said is true. Because I've seen it. I've seen when guys actually jump somebody else, and then uh, that would be it for them. But I don't know. I mean, if you can develop a technique to where you can fight, and you feel comfortable, fighting and not getting messed up while after getting on the ground. I mean, I would say go with your strengths, man. When you fight, when you fight and go with your strengths.
Now you mentioned you know where I'm going to go with this. Where do you think I'm going to go with it?
Well, when you develop, yeah, again, when you develop a fighting style, um, and you go with your strengths. I mean, if you, like I said, if you can, if you master judo, you can pretty much feel comfortable about putting somebody in a lock like that, and those were some pretty effective takedowns. So, I mean, if you can get back up after somebody attacks you or whatever, and you take them down like that. But again, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like how Andrew was saying, if there's like multiple attackers and they decide to jump on you while you're on the ground, it's a limited chance that you win that fight. I don't know, man. It just depends.
All right. Well, here's my rebuttal to Andrew. Now, while I do agree with him, if you are in a situation where you are fighting multiple assailants, then you're not going to use a technique that's going to lock you up to one person. I think that should be evident. Um,
Hmm.
he was talking specifically about BJJ or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in particular. And his point is well taken if the scenarios that he mentioned are the issue. Then, of course, I would agree with him there. But that's the reason why, as I mentioned earlier, you want to adjust to whatever the situation is. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you're fighting multiple people, and I've learned this in actual situations, one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you keep as much distance as you can from the people and use kind of like a squirrel technique where you can, if you can get an obstacle in front of you in them as much as possible, you do that. And as I don't care what it is, you can get around that obstacle and you allow them to try to come or try to funnel them in a way that they're coming one at a time, kind of like if you know about the ancient Spartan battle of Thermopylae, when they were outnumbered by the Persians and they funneled them into the small narrow corridor, right? You know the story of the
Mhm.
300 and all that, right? And that's how you
Yeah.
can use your lesser numbers of you can use your environment to multiply your effectiveness by limiting your opponents to get to you. The other thing you want to do is make sure you have your back covered, so get up against a wall or something to where no one can sneak up behind you or come on the side or what have you.
Yeah.
These are just environmental techniques that you want to implement, and you definitely want to utilize whatever uh, weapons you can get, strikes. There's a whole different fundamental way of fighting multiple assailants than fighting an individual. So that's
Yeah.
where he's wrong because he doesn't use enough nuance, and he's Mr. Shock Jock type guy. He says a lot of stuff just to kind of rub people the wrong way. But I think he's smart enough to understand nuance, right? And he
Yeah.
knows that in any given situation, one particular technique will work better than another technique. It's
Yeah.
not a one size fits all. Just like if you're a kickboxer like he is, or you're a karate master, if someone grabs you, then you can't use your punches or strikes as effectively, right?
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
But if you're a jujitsu practitioner, that's your advantage. You see what I did there?
Mhm.
So if he's a kickboxer, or if you know both, preferably, if you know kickboxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, then what knife what weapon are you going to pull out of that toolbox? If I got three
Yeah.
guys coming at me, I'm not going to use my jiu-jitsu techniques. I might, depending on if one gets close enough, I might, because there's certain techniques you could do in jiu-jitsu. You don't have to take someone to the ground. I hope he
Yeah.
knows that too.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I've sparred with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and there are certain arm locks and that are so painful, you're gonna get somebody up off of you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in that case, if you're a kickboxer, then you're gonna use your kickbox. You're gonna use your strikes, you're gonna use your kicks, and you're gonna get them up off of you. But you're gonna utilize the strategy that I said. You're gonna make sure you get up against your wall. You're going to make sure you use the environment to your advantage. You're going to try to funnel them as much as you can to an environment where their numbers can be diminished in terms of the effectiveness. You want to get an obstacle in front of them. You want to utilize whatever environmental weapons you can get to try to even the odds. You're going to be thinking a whole lot differently if you're fighting multiple assailants.
Yeah.
But if you're fighting one person and he's a bigger guy, then you have an advantage if you are a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Guarantee your size doesn't mean much at that point.
Oh no, I really don't.
My Jiu-Jitsu, the Jiu-Jitsu master that was training me was a small guy. I was way bigger than him. But when he put that lock on me, guess what I did? Tap out. The dude's like very small, but once I thought I had him, he put that lock on me. I'm tapping. So that's what I'm saying. That's a good thing about something like judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido. I didn't say I speak a lot on that, but I've trained in aikido. I started to get some demonstrations on that too, but the videos were getting kind of full here. So, um, those type of arts are very good if you're smaller, or even if you are not that strong or whatever, you could use these techniques. And I enjoy knowing various techniques, right? So I'm gonna play a little clip of one of the famous Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists, Renzo Gracie. And I used to watch UFC before it became a household name. Back in the '90s, me and my friends were aware of it. And later on, I don't know if you saw, but on my Counselor Mr. G channel, I made a video because I used to actually manage funds for a UFC fighter.
Mm.
I don't know if you saw that video. He died earlier this year, and that's why I made the video. But I used to manage funds for him. And the thing is, and I even got a birthday shout out from Rampage Jackson.
Oh, okay.
He was a very he was a champion for a while, very good fighter. In fact, he's in the thumbnail. He's one of the guys that's in the thumbnail in the background throwing a punch. But
okay,
yeah. But I'm going to show some quick techniques with Renzo Gracie. He's one of the Gracies, and they're maybe the most prestigious Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners. And it was their father who brought jiu-jitsu to Brazil and developed that style. And all those other Brazilian styles came out of this one. But his brother Royce was the first UFC champion before Dana White and them came along. I think their family owned it or something, but this is his brother. He's demonstrating some techniques real quick. Jiu-jitsu. Now you tell me if you think this is effective or not, in spite of what Tate said.
You see, so it's very simple. We are here, we're blocking. All that I'm doing is sitting back, not letting him come under me. Then I go this way, look. Remember, I always grab shallow, just on the seam, just the tip of your 4 fingers. And every time when you're finishing this, your palm has to go out like a cat. Because any other way you grab is going to break your grip. If the guy resists, it breaks your grip. But like this, you can hang on the bar there, you won't be able to break it. You see? So I'm here. He's trying to come closer, he's coming, it's like I'm holding. When I touch here, I pull, and I call it the plastic bag. I put the plastic bag on his head, look. Boom, and I lock by putting my elbow down, look. His head cannot come out now. Now my hand sneaks in as I'm turning, and every time to finish, I move my ear towards his belt, like I want to touch my ear on his belt. It's like because I want to end up like I'm holding a baseball bat. Sit this way. And this move too, from everywhere. Like one of my favorite positions too is from here. When those guys like to attack arm locks. So they're here, I go right here. Look. Straight, boom. Every time. I lock, the beauty of this, when I lock it, can you get my arm lock, please? Get me an arm lock. He can't. Vai pro arm lock, Ramon. Olha lá. He can't look, it doesn't matter. Pass the leg over. Because he needs the head to go up to the legs so the legs can pass. So I began using this as a defense for arm locks, and this was the most, everybody used this kind of arm lock from here. I lock the head, I hold it here, and then the hand sneaks in. So it's the same thing from everywhere. See, from here, look, I hold it, the hand is in, look, done. The same thing, I will do it from north, south. I'll get them here, they turn their head inside, straight there, look. So everywhere I had a chance to hug his head, boom, would be on, And this was the inverted one. What I call the plastic bag, yeah. You're here, you're holding, you always pull him closer to you. So he's even more confident because that's why he's fighting. Before you're fighting to keep him away, suddenly he comes, elbow down, hand sticks in. The more relaxed you are, quicker you can do it. Look, boom. You see, in, elbow down, like when you scratch your ear, hand sneaks in.
Yeah, it's effective, it's effective,
I've actually
and you have,
sparred in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Those holds, you see how fast the guy was tapping out?
yeah,
He
yeah,
wasn't he
yeah.
wasn't doing that for show. When that
Oh
pressure
yeah,
gets on you, those pressure points on those wrists, on that neck,
yeah,
you tapping.
yeah, yeah. That's what Greg say. It's very effective, and that only comes with continuous repetition. So to get
Yeah,
the technique down. So yeah,
right.
it's all about technique. But yeah, that's very effective. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I know for a fact. I mean, I've trained in this art, and I've given out those type of holds, and I've been on the receiving end of them. They are very effective. So that's why I said, if anybody says you can do anything within a street fight, they just don't know what they're talking about. Now it just depends if you're fighting one on one, most definitely. But I wouldn't do it in a group. If
yeah,
there's multiple people coming at me, because but you can break down. I mean, there's things you could do even in that situation, but there's obviously better arts in terms of striking and kicking that you could do that would be probably more effective in that situation.